Rain Studio of Design is an architectural firm based out of Chennai, India, that believes in the transcending power of design and its ability to elevate human experiences. The studio has completed many unique projects across the many scope and many scale, and they always take each project as an opportunity to explore new possibilities in the design process. Today, we are joined by Sriram Adhitya, the principal architect at Rain Studio of Design, and we will be conversing about balancing traditional and technological approach to sustainable design. So thank you so much for being with us.
Yeah, I am Sriram Adhitya, founder and partner of Rain Studio of Design. In Tamil Nadu, it's in the southern part of India. I graduated from architecture school in 2012. Post that, I went back to my native place. I was working under an architect for the next 3 years. So I always wanted to have my own architectural practice. So in 2016, I started a small studio, just one or two people, and back then we were working with a couple of smaller projects. Now we are in 2023. We are a team of 10 to 12 architects and engineers, alongside my partner Vamsi Krishna, who holds a degree in master's degree in product design from Thomas Academy, Milan, and Bala Shanmugham. We three work on a diverse and very explorative architectural projects almost all across India.
That's amazing. I'm curious, what inspired your design approach?
So I grew up as an artist with a very curious mind. So ever since my childhood, I had a very lasting admiration towards everything around me, and I used to spend most of the time in deep thought. So my rudimentary approach to architecture was based on my fundamental character, curiosity. So I have always been very excited about everything related to architecture. So this led us in a way, kind of not to limit ourselves to a specific style. Instead, we embrace a wide spectrum of architectural approaches, whether it be vernacular, parametric, organic, minimalism, or more. So when we see a flair for a particular project, we just close our eyes and just dive in.
That's cool. So, what is sustainability to you, and how does it shape and influence your design style? If
Um, okay. So sustainability, if you ask me, it's very straightforward for me. It's just not about designing for the present. It's about the future. So you have to be conscious that each and every action you take has an impact on the future. And I strongly believe who you are as a person is what you practice as an architect. I personally grew up in a very suburban and rural neighborhood, and had a very close relationship with nature. And this affinity towards nature is what I want my users to experience in the spaces I create. And along with that, my conviction to push boundaries uh, is what primarily influence my design.
Cool. So, how has it translate to? How does it translate to your projects?
So it kind of depends on the project. So basically, as I told you, it's uh, who I am is what how it's reflected in my project. So when it comes to practice, sustainable architecture, it's not really a choice for us. I mean, it comes out subconsciously. It's like a subconscious reaction, and along with our ideas and conviction to being futuristic in our thoughts, stepping out of your comfort zone. That's how we always work. And sometimes, or even most times, the path to sustainable design, or the way how you wanted it to be, might be long and hard. And we just have to believe in the process, not just the end product. Open to a lot of trial and errors, and it's also a responsibility as architects to educate the clients about its relevance and importance.
I agree. So, in what ways do you balance traditional and vernacular approach along with technology and innovation in the design processes?
Again, it would be better if I could explain this with a project, which I'll do in the coming slides. Simple, we draw the inspiration from traditional architecture. That's the starting point. That's the cue that gives the spark. And then we apply tools from the technology we have and come up with a space that has a relevance both in the present and it can hold a relevance in the future also. That's how we do it.
Okay. Yeah, so do you want to share with us about some of your projects? I wanted to share the Karai house and Madrasa house.
So the first project that I'm going to be presenting, it's called Karai. In our native language, Karai means seashore. Because we literally wanted to, we named it Karai because we literally wanted to capture the essence of the shore and celebrate the sea. So we had previously worked on a project for this client in 2018 on his residence. He came back to us for the second project, a weekend home, which he would be sharing with three of his friends. So it's a simple G+1 structure to accommodate four families on a weekend. So essentially, four bedrooms, a bath, and a kitchenette. Very very simple. The site is located in Kuvattur. It's 80 kilometers from the main city of Chennai, and it's located in a very rural setting. The neighboring lands are pretty much uninhabited, and it's almost like 350 meters from the sea. And if you see the image, the topography between the site and the sea is pretty much flat. So we wanted to capitalize on the view also. So the site is like the size of the site is 120 feet by 180 feet. That's close to 21,600 square feet, almost half an acre. And you enter the site from the northern side. So we wanted the house to be hidden within a dense, lush green landscape. So the entire context was pretty much barren, and we want to create this nice contrast when you enter the site. So we placed the house in the southwest corner of the property. Like it will look like it's hidden within a landscape. And also a swimming pool is placed in the northeast corner. So this is about the zoning. So the client, he wanted a very simple Nalukete house. So Nalukete it's a traditional house typology, which literally translates to a house with four blocks. The planning process itself started from inside out. So we placed the courtyard in the middle of 16 feet by 32 feet, and the rest of the house was actually planned based on the size. So you enter through the northern landscape, which is dense and lush, and you see glimpses of the house while you walk, and you enter the entrance patio. So, as a design objective itself, we wanted to have at least 70% of the house open to sunlight, sea breeze, essentially capture the aura of the site. So, from the entrance patio, you enter the internal corridor and then to the courtyard. So this journey from the landscape to the corridor and the courtyard was very important to us. We wanted to maintain a smooth transition between indoor and outdoor spaces. So the house doesn't look like it's a solid block sitting within a landscape. Rather, fragments of spaces spread among a natural context. So once this entrance and the courtyard is established, as a design requirement, we were asked to place four bedrooms, a bath, and a kitchen. Um, so the house, so that it gets a lot of indirect sunlight and it has a wonderful view of the landscape also. So next to that, we placed two other bedrooms on the eastern and the western sides, and the southeast corner the kitchen is placed. So this plot, the size of the house is pretty large. So in order to have one single roof on the entire house would make it very massive. So we broke the massing into multiple fragments and introduced some buffers in between so that the house looks very intimate. So on the western side, we introduced a green pocket and a sit-out space overlooking the garden and a nice water body along the northeastern corner of the property. Coming to the materiality, the weather is extremely humid and tropical. So the materials had to be selected keeping that in mind. As a design intent, we wanted the house to be built with a lot of reclaimed materials that in turn reduces the carbon footprint. So we were looking for a lot of locally available source, and we found a lot of these mangrove tiles in abundance. So mangrove tiles are basically clay roof tiles, and so used predominantly in South India. We found a lot of old discarded tiles in abundance. So we thought, why not use them as the primary building materials? Mangrove tiles have a higher density and a low thermal conductivity, so they turned out to be perfect material of choice for this particular context. So the walls were pretty much almost 80% of the walls were constructed using mangrove tiles, and we used local soil as a mud mortar to bind them. We worked with a lot of samples. We tried with different tile. We tried with the pot tiles, and finally this worked out. And yeah, so this is how the walls were made. And again, the doors and windows, they were also procured from a demolished buildings. We found at least close to 60 to 70 discarded old doors and windows. To our surprise, when we sanded them, all these were painted when we procured, and we got them at a very reasonable price. So when we sanded them, we found these were made with very high quality teak wood doors, and some of these doors even had very intricate and amazing inlay patterns, which was hidden by the painting. So even the main door and other things were done using some of the scrap shutters that we found in the discarded lot. Yeah, so this is how all these were made. And so one of the other ideas is that so we want to reinterpret some of the elements that you find in a very traditional house, so to its contemporary form. So that's how we came with the following ideas. So the overall project had a very warm hue. So we wanted to balance it out with a very cooler note. So that's how we came up with this idea for the flooring. So this is a ikat pattern inspired flooring. Ikat is predominant in Southeast Asian countries as a fabric pattern. We want to design a flooring based on this, and we use three natural stones locally procured. Uh, they are called Kota Dolpur stones, and we arrange them in patterns, made a terrazzo that look like this, that kind of balance out the entire hue of the house. So these are the some of the images, final images. And the other thing is we wanted to bring in some of the elements, as I told you. So this is one such element. This is a traditional lamp used in South Indian houses. It's called a kuttu velakku. So we went to a southern state that predominantly has a lot of brass artisan who work with these. We found an artisan, reconfigured the lamp, and brought it to the future. We introduced we made it like a contemporary lamp using that. Yes, so this is the final light fixture. Yeah, and next one is yeah. So these are called Velaka Madams in traditional courtyard houses. So they usually used to have some oil lamps, so we brought them in again in this project. So they subtly lit the corridors during nights, and they look really beautiful at nights. They are amazing, and even the columns, they are reinterpretation of columns that you see in traditional houses. Yeah. So this is the second one is so when you work at the site, sometimes the site inspires you to come up with a lot of new ideas, interesting ideas. So this is one such example. So when we were working at the site, the sun was really intense. Most of the times we'll be running away from it. We'll be finding places to rest, shade, and all. So we thought, why not convert this harsh sunlight into something more of an admirable beauty? That's how we came up with this idea. We introduced glass strips onto the concrete roof before pouring the concrete, and yeah, and then casted them. So this is the final output. So this is from a swing. So that's in southeast side of the corridor. So when you're sitting in the swing, swaying, this happens during summertime when the sun is right above. The harsh sunlight is broken down into something more of an admirable beauty, like sprinkles of water. Yeah, and yeah, again, one such item is this a water spout. We want to create a nice narrative of the house filling the water body by itself. So we placed a little, this is called a brass kudam, which was used in traditional households as a vessel. So yeah, we placed it as a water spout to create a nice narrative. And even the vegetation that you see here, it was totally absent. It was a barren land. So we wanted the property to have a contrast with the context. So we planted a lot of trees. Uh, we planted a lot of vegetation so that the house looks very, very full of life. Yeah.
Mhm.
And but yeah, most of these spaces evolved into spaces of their own with programs that we didn't even intend to be. Uh, just 1 second, I missed out one thing. I'll just continue that. I missed talking about the swimming pool. Can I say it now, or
Yeah.
should I continue? Okay. Even the swimming pool was designed to have an earthy vibe. We wanted the pool to look like a rural pond, unlike a properly finished pool. So we used black tiles instead of blue, and we used a traditional boat on a raised platform within the pool, so it looks like it's floating. So we want to create an effect of a rural setting within the house. So even the furnitures, they were all bought from an auction house. They were all repurposed. As I told you, almost 80% of the houses designed constructed using reclaimed materials. So I'll be moving on to the next project. So this is a project that's totally in contrast with the one that I previously presented. So this is a project that's under construction. This is coming up in Indian Institute of Technology campus. It's one of the largest educational campus in southern India, spread across 2.5 square kilometers. It's known for its abundant natural vegetation, wildlife, etc. So this is a concrete 3D printed project. So it's being built by Twasta, construction 3D printing company based out of Chennai, southern India. So they are determined to provide sustainable buildings using their printing technology. So we've been working on this design for more than a year now. A little bit about the design process itself. So when we design a project, it usually doesn't originate from a single idea. We wait for a convergence to occur between multiple thought processes. And only when we are comfortable with the convergence, we pursue that idea. That's how we work. And here are some of the objectives that we had before starting up the project. So the first one was this project should push the limits of 3D printing. So currently 3D printing is at a very nascent stage, and we want to see how far it can go, how far we can push the limits. So that was the initial objective. And concrete is generally perceived as a very rigid material, and in this design, I want to challenge this perception and make it look like a fabric. Like each fold has like a cause and effect. And as I told you, the IIT campus, it's known for its natural vegetation. It it is full of life. There is a lot of natural setting. So the design has to look very harmonious. It doesn't look very alienated at the site. It has to look like it's sprung from the ground. So that was another idea. And the design also has a very futuristic feel to it. So to provide an interesting contrast, we thought let's balance it, or let's contrast it with traditional elements to the overall aesthetic. So a blend of futuristic building with the traditional character is what we did it here. Also, we wanted the project not only be futuristic in construction, but also be like a next gen building that incorporates a lot of sustainable technologies and try to bring it close to net zero. So these were the ideas that were put into this project. So this is I mean, we've been working on this design for a long time, so I'll make it short, just discuss important points alone. So this is a guest house for delegates who visit the campus. So it's a 4-bedroom suite and a foyer. Very simple and straightforward. There are 2-bedroom suites on the ground floor, double height foyer. The site is surrounded with 10 trees, so we opened up the foyer roof and gave skylights. And and on the first floor there are again 2 more suites. So we designed this intricate traditional door picture. Yeah. So we designed this intricate traditional door that's emblematic of Indian architectural and adorned it with a bold color. As a user enters the building, which is very futuristic, and encounters the door, a sort of connection is established here between the past and future. So he realizes that this future belongs to them. It's not someone else. So that's why we want to incorporate these kind of elements into the project so that it doesn't look very alienated. It's part of the context. Likewise, in tried merging a lot of traditional values and materials, elements, spatial aspects within the building. Yeah. And I'm going to explain with an example. So this is where I want to explain how we use traditional methods along with technology in our design process. So from the lessons we learned from doing Karai, which was very traditional vernacular, we tried incorporating some of the ideas onto this project. For example, let's say in a vernacular architecture, we have a courtyard. So the courtyard is generally used as a gathering space, family gathering space, and they were also a source of airflow and thermal comfort of the residents. That was the primary intent. So here we have an area within the suite where we want to open up. To do this, what we did was we had a so the queue and the idea was from the vernacular architecture. So we wanted to do that. We want to incorporate that into our design. So what we did was we had to do a radiation analysis on the building, found the best possible way to orient the building so that it has lesser thermal impact. And even the walls were designed in such a way. So we kind of created a 2-layered wall system so that the building will have lesser solar impedance. So lesser solar impedance mean higher comfort within the building. So it will have lesser load, air conditioning load on the building. So also we had to do a microclimatic analysis, a CFT analysis to carefully design the openings. Each openings were carefully designed so that you have the perfect airflow within the building. So these tools help us to create something that's more sustainable and that performs better as a building. Also, we are exploring options of passive cooling. These printed walls themselves are designed in such a way they have a very low thermal conductivity. We are even trying to collect data from the house to perform a building performance, to perform analysis, building performance analysis, life cycle analysis, etc. So, yeah, these are some of the analysis we work with, and I'll just briefly explain what it takes to design a 3D printed project and how it's different from a conventional building. So in a conventional project, the client requirements and the structural design are typically the main factors that influence the design. But however, in this project, there are several additional parameters that we had to learn and consider. The input from structural engineering team, the machinery team, printing design team, printing coding team, construction team. So all of their inputs will essentially impact the design. So we had to closely work with all of them and work on a detailed sequence of work so that we don't end up doing the same work 100 times. Yeah, personally, I would say this technology is has a lot of potential benefits in the future, and it will definitely approach the way we design buildings also the future. Yeah. So yeah, that's it about the project. We like to show some of the construction photos. The site is under construction. We have started printing the buildings. blocks. These will be taken to the site, arranged, and finally, this will have a. Just one second, I have to pause. What we are doing here is that we are using two types of assembly methods. One, the panels will be printed off-site and they'll be taken to the site and assembled. Mostly we are trying to complete the printing process in about 2 months, and assembly will take another 1 or 2 months. And there is one block which we are trying to print on site itself. So this is how it works generally. So these are some of the printing images. Yeah, that's the conclusion of this project.
Wow, can't wait to see it completed.
So thank you.
Yeah, so I really like how from the two projects you shared, it's not only merely placing local and traditional elements in the architecture, but also, using it in the process, like you said before, like you look at the surroundings and answering the problems that it has to then incorporate it in the process of building, so, which I think is really nice way of building.
Right.
Mhm. Cool. So, lastly, in your opinion, what will be the biggest challenge in design that nurtures humans and the environment in the future context?
Okay. See, the future is presenting with a lot of newer challenges and problems. I would say the biggest and most significant one is people's ability to adapt and grow, uh, and be also in sync with the nature. That will be the biggest challenge now.
Yeah. Cool. So thank you so much for sharing today. We really learned a lot about the processes behind it, like the using of data and technology also in making sure that the building doesn't need a lot of extra energy to run, and also keeping in mind of the culture and the traditions it's from. Yeah, really admire your work and keep doing great work.
Thank you. Thank you.